What a beautiful night. I found out about an airport that hasn't been public use for very long. And with the winds tonight, I thought we'd zoom by there, see what the deal was. Grass strip, north-south strip. And the winds are out of the south today, almost directly. Good day to check it out. When I looked at it on the satellite view, it looks like during the summer it could get quite narrow. I haven't called the manager over there yet, but I'm guessing that it's probably an ultralight field. Super narrow, but way longer than it needs to be for an ultralight field. So we've got some data suggesting it is, and some data suggesting it isn't. The narrowness wouldn't be a big deal, except that in the satellite view, it did show it being surrounded by corn. As most of you know, corn is not my favorite thing, and this strip is listed as being 60 feet wide. So with a 30-foot wingspan, that only leaves 15 feet on either side. Probably not a field I would go into when the corn is tall. You don't need to have much of a burble or a bump to have a sideways move go bad on you. After we go bouncing around a little bit, we're going to go make some beef broccoli. Got a new walk I want to try out. On the personal side of things, just got back from Scotland. Played 7 rounds in 7 days over there. The Open Championship is going to be in July at Royal Troon. We played that course. And the Women's Open is in August, I think, at the old course at St. Andrews, and we played that as well. We also played Ely, Balcomi, and a couple others. Cut the hay at the farm yesterday, so it's in rows now drying, so we'll be landing into that. Shouldn't affect the landing too much, but it is kind of interesting to look at. We live kind of right in the heart of the driftless zone. Lots of hills, Wisconsin River comes through. Kind of pretty all year round. During the winter you can see all kinds of different rock formations. During the summer it's full of trees and woods, and it's beautiful from that standpoint. Going out this direction, things flatten out pretty quickly once you get south of our place. A big solar facility out here that I didn't know about. Makes sense though, because there are some wind turbines as well. So they must have had the infrastructure to get that energy moved. I just can't believe how much solar there is out here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 big areas. Kind of cool the way all this is laid out too. For each set of panels, you have to have basically a little substation that manages the power.
Local traffic, medevac helicopter 6 Gulf Lima's midfield 3100 southbound for local traffic.
And you can see all that kind of scattered among the panels here as well. Okay, coming up on Herd. According to the GPS, we're coming right up on it. Herd traffic, 1 Whiskey Tango, entering the pattern. We're going to enter left downwind runway 18, Herd. Yeah, that is quite narrow. Not clear to me what this strip is used for. Neither end seems to be attached to a road of any sort. So I think first things first, we'll do a low pass. Just take a closer look and see if we like what we're seeing. Lots of options out here. I have another video somewhere that talks about how to evaluate strips. I'll link that in the description below, but that's basically what we're doing here. So we're going to do a low pass here, take a look, see if we see anything that looks like it would be a bad deal. End is clear, no fences or anything like that. Don't see any ditches or anything that looks like it would gobble you up. Well, that was pretty easy, no problem. Definitely don't think I'm coming in here when the call. Also wonder what the heck that is. I'll tell you what I know for sure it is. A problem for another day. Westfield definitely has corn in it. Right now, I'm pretty well... I'm not really centered. Now I'm pretty well centered. There's not going to be much room between the wingtip and the corn once that comes up. Looks like the field on the east has beans. But still, coming in here when that corn's up, I just don't know if I would do that. Call it PTSD, call it whatever you want. I know for sure what I'll call it. Call it a beautiful night to fly. I don't know if I've ever seen a solar facility wrapped over the top of a hill like that. Looks like kind of a wave of water over it. Also looks like these panels are adjustable. I'm not sure the ones over by Lone Rock are. These are facing to the west right now. And some of them more than others. Nope, and some of them are pointed to the east. Yeah, I don't think they're adjustable. I think they just have them set up so that some of them favor the afternoon and some of them favor the morning. I always have trouble finding the place coming from this direction. Landmarks just aren't as familiar. There's a church across the street from my farm. Acts as a landmark when I'm coming from the east. And there it is. It was too high to make the turn, so just doing a little 270 back around, losing altitude and coming back into it. Well, that was a good one. All right, let's make some beef broccoli.
This morning I was supposed to be recording a quick video for this product Plane Perfect has called One. The idea of the video was to show the product on the plane, then clean the plane with it, and show the difference between the before and after shots in terms of how clean it was. Unfortunately, the product works so well that I couldn't actually do the after shot because the product wouldn't stay on the airplane. So after being frustrated for a few minutes, I realized that this itself was actually a pretty compelling testimony about the quality of the product. The name One comes from the fact that it's designed to be used on any surface. So you can use it on your leading edges, on your windshield, on your cowl, on your fuselage, whatever you want to. One product, all surfaces. So give it a try, I think you'll like it. Today we're doing beef broccoli. Before I left, I sliced the beef and coated it with baking soda. This technique is called velveting, and the way it works is that the baking soda is alkaline, which softens the proteins in the meat, making things more tender. In this case, the flight was about 30 minutes, so that's how long I ended up tenderizing the meat. Once I landed, I marinated the beef in a blend of soy sauce and cornstarch. In camp, I love using deli containers for everything. Saves a bit on cleanup, like in this case where I can just shake everything up instead of having the dirty utensils mixing the marinade in. After letting that rest for about 20 minutes, I heated up the wok. After the gyoza episode in Ranger, Texas, I've been wanting to do more Asian food. So I browsed around and found this fun little portable setup. 65,000 BTU burner and a wok big enough to cook for a crew if I want to. I'm adding a little canola oil to the wok, and you can see that it's already hot and ready to go. From here, things go quite quickly. The rest of the video is almost real time with just a couple edits to take out dull moments. So, first we're putting in our beef. There's so much energy in the wok that the browning happens almost immediately. It's important to keep things moving so that the cooking is even and you don't end up with burn spots. We're shooting for cooking this about halfway because we're going to take it off the heat and then add it back on again at the end. If you're going to Oshkosh this year, I'm doing a forum at 10 a.m. on Wednesday about airplane flying, camping, and cooking. It's been great meeting so many of you over the years, and I'd be happy to see some more this year. Chamoy is coming through in the background, smelling what's cooking. And that's that. Turn the heat off, pull the meat off, strain the oil, leave it behind. Put all that aside for a moment. The residual heat will penetrate a bit, and like I said before, it's going back into the wok later to finish. Grabbing a towel and doing a quick clean of the pan. This gets any residual oil and bits out. We don't want them to burn. Once that's done, the heat goes back on and the broccoli goes in. We're doing the broccoli completely dry at first. We're looking to warm it up, but also get some flavor by getting some slightly burned edges as well. Since we have a ton of heat, it's again important to keep things moving and not simply scorch the bottom of the pan. Once the broccoli is done, we're adding our sauce. In this case, I made a blend of soy sauce, fish sauce, and oyster sauce. Things are going even faster now. I pour that on the broccoli and add the meat back in. I had to kill the heat because I realized I forgot to add the butter. So I add the butter and let it warm a little. but the residual heat wasn't quite enough, so the heat goes back on for just a sec to finish things off. The butter helps a lot with both mouthfeel and giving the entire dish a luscious color and coating. Now that the butter is incorporated, it's time to plate things up. I've had a couple comments lately about plating. Of course, when you're camping, most people care less about plating than when cooking at home for guests, but it takes so little extra effort that it can be a nice touch. In this case, I put my portion of rice into another deli container to create a nice presentation, and took the time to swipe a towel around the edge of the dish to make things look nice for a thumbnail. All that's left is to taste it. The beef has benefited quite a bit from the velveting process. The sauce has all that umami that you expect from Chinese food at a restaurant. The broccoli is pretty much perfectly done. It's still fresh and has some crunch, but is cooked enough to blend in with the rest of the dish and be a tasty complement to those timeless flavors. Until next time, there are over 100 videos on this channel, so I hope you browse around and train YouTube to know what you like.